Hey, Brennan here again, here to talk about my top 3 favorite albums from the year 2001. So last video I did the year 2000, now we're at 2001. For me, this is a much stronger year for new albums than 2000. 2001 had 2 progressive metal masterpiece albums competing for my top spot. So which one took the cake? I think the top album of 2001 for me right now is Lateralus. I don't know how to say that. Is Lateralus, I think, not Lateralis, Lateralus, by Tool. It's their third album. They're a great progressive metal band. It's very rhythmic, hypnotizing, and it takes you on a journey. The second one that was vying for that top spot, but just fell short of Lateralus, was Blackwater Park by Opeth. It's the 5th album. I consider Opeth the kings of progressive death metal, even though today their sound has shifted more towards the classic 70s progressive rock sound, but back in 2001 it was powerful, brutal, but still beautiful progressive death metal that they were making. The third spot goes to Toxicity by System of a Down. This is the second album from System of a Down. Some people called them new metal, but I never really thought they fit into that category with bands like Korn, Linkin Park, and Limp Bizkit that were doing like the rapping metal thing. I don't think System of a Down really fits in that category as much. I'd call them alternative metal, but they are very unique sounding. They combine influences from Armenian folk music with metal, hardcore, and even just pop rock sometimes. It's a really great album as well. My honorable mentions: Origin of Symmetry by Muse and Teria by Devin Townsend. But again, I was 10 turning 11 in 2001, so none of the albums that I mentioned were actually my favorites at the time. I think I learned about Tool in 2006 from Zandy, I think, and I started listening to Opeth in 2009 after Mark shared some of their music with me. And System of a Down, I think I started listening to them in 2004 after Sean introduced them to me. And Muse, maybe 2006, I think Ryan Poser introduced them to me. And Devin Townsend, like I mentioned last time, I didn't learn about him until 2013. So at the time, in 2001, what was I listening to? I think it was like the Shrek soundtrack that was released in 2001. It had a couple Smash Mouth songs that were my favorites on the album at the time. I'm a Believer and All Star. I also liked On My Way by the Proclaimers and Hallelujah by Rufus Wainwright. Then there were a couple punk rock, pop punk albums. All Killer No Filler by Sum 41. That was released in 2001. I still like this album today, just not enough to make my top 5. It was, hockey arena change rooms full of teenage and tweenage boys in 2001. They were all blaring this pumped up pop rock, pop punk music by Sum 41, kind of edgy. And then another similar release from Blink-182 called Take Off Your Pants and Jackets, released in 2001. It's more vulgar pop punk stuff. I still like this album again, but it doesn't make my top 5 of the year. The other album I remember listening to a lot this year, I think, was Weird Al's 1999 album, Running with Scissors. So I was into like funny stuff, parody music, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's what I was into in 2001. What are your top favorites now from 2001, and what do you remember listening to back when you were young?